So this is going to be a brief introduction into PowerPivot. So I'm going to close out these actually I can leave it open. So let's go to PowerPivot. So you go to PowerPivot, and the first thing you do is you go to Manage. And so this is where you're going to bring in some data. You can also bring in data via Get Data from File, but that will put it into the worksheet. Now, I don't know how to properly describe it again because I'm an amateur, I'm a beginner here. So we want to open up the PowerPivot and bring in data from into the PowerPivot. So we can bring it in if we're work at a company that has a database and it has a SQL server, and SQL, you can write a code to bring in those exact tables and columns that we just looked at for the revenue forecast, revenue actuals, for example, order number, region, country, all of these things. If you have a database, you can easily pull it in SQL and make it even faster. For now, we don't. So, and maybe a lot of us won't. So we can do from other sources. We go to Excel file, we go to next, and then we got to find that path on our computer. So you just go to browse, you search for it, and I have it, and it's called Fact Revenue Forecast. And I'm going to explain kind of why I'm calling it Fact, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you bring it in, click Next, and it's in use. That's what I was afraid of. So you got to actually have it closed. Again, amateur here. Don't hold it against me. So we're going to close the revenue actuals as well. So let's go back to PowerPivot. Now we can click Next. First row is headers. So this is going to show us, and actually I want to, so Excel, I just want to call it Fact Revenue Forecast. Okay. So, all right, click Finish. Now it's importing. So this is the same data that we were just looking at. It's literally the exact same data, but it's in PowerPivot. It's in a queryable, I would say. I don't even know if that's the right term, but it's kind of behind the scenes in Excel, and it's not something you're going to always look at. It's in PowerPivot. Let's just say that it lives in PowerPivot. It's in a different home. So now we have this one. Now, of course, we got to bring in the second one. So go to Other Data Sources, go down to Excel, and it's going to be in the same spot. Bring in, these are the actuals. So we've already brought in our forecast. And again, we want to compare our forecast to actuals. And let's just get rid of that Excel. Don't know if that matters. Okay. So this is showing that we have two sheets. Well, one is probably just the pivot table. And then this one is the actual data tab. You want this data to come in a data format. So you have the columns and you have the rows. And so that's what we want. We'll click Finish. Okay. So we have forecast and we have actuals. I'm actually going to rename these. I'm going to call one Fact and one, so one's Fact Actuals. One I'm going to call Fact Forecast. And I'm going to explain again why I'm calling it Fact. It's a way that I've learned data architecture, so we will get there. So now we have these two data sets. But if we go back to our Excel sheet, there's still a blank sheet. So how do we combine these? So we can see here, oh, there's a pivot table. Okay, so let's click that. So put it in a new worksheet, fine. So here we see both of our data sets. Okay, well that's interesting. So let's bring back in, let's go to our Fact Actuals. Let's see what our actuals look like. Let's bring in the revenue. Okay, it's still in that format. Okay, let's just change the format. Currency. And let's just look at the year 2020. Again, I know we're not done with 2020, but actually let's go here, columns. Let's group these so that we can look at just the years. Okay, so we just want to look at the year 2020. Okay, so, and just for the sake of making it easy, let's just look at the year. So we have our actuals, but we have the forecast in there too. I wonder if we can just bring in, the revenue here. Let's see. Okay, so we can, it looks like. So, all right, so let's do the same thing. Currency, okay. So that seems to be all right. Let's go like this. We'll view it like this. Okay, so we got some revenue here. Obviously, they're named the same thing. Let's remember this top one's the actuals, the bottom one's the budget, the forecast. So we can kind of see here, okay, they're the same. They're, so we didn't do very good on our actuals. Okay, well, what region did the best or the worst? Okay, so I have region in both of these. So let's see if I bring in region from the, I'll bring in region from the forecast. Let's bring it into our rows. So something looks funny here. For the actuals, it says the same number here. So what if we do this? We can see that more clearly. This is the revenue that we brought in from actuals. Actually, just to make this a little bit easier to tell for us, let's call that actuals, and then we'll know that the other one's forecast. But for some reason, it's the same number, but this one's different. Like, that's weird. Why is that? So I wonder if we bring in, I guess I'll try to bring in region from the other one. Let's see what that does. So now we have Americas. It's still just repeating itself. This one looks like it's repeating itself, and this is our forecast. We didn't have a forecast for AMS. It was all just in Americas. Like, what's going on here? So, probably belabored that point too much, but we've got the first step in PowerPivot, and that's just simply bringing the data in. Now, we have to link them. So if we go back to our PowerPivot, you're going to go here to the bottom right. It's called the diagram. You can also see it up here, diagram view here at the top. So let's see. So here's our data. So how do I combine these? So for now, that's how we get started in PowerPivot. The next video, I'm going to show us how to combine these so that we can see it by geo, compare it side by side, and not have that messy stuff come up. And so stay tuned.